Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Art of Thriving Beautiful Souls. I am your host, Vela, and I am so glad you're here. If this is your first time joining us, welcome home. And if you've been here before, then thank you. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for continuing to show up, for listening, for sharing this space with me, for sharing the episodes. Your support is what keeps this podcast alive and growing, and I do not take that lightly. If the art of thriving has meant something to you or had an impact on you, one of the most beautiful ways you can give back is by subscribing wherever you're listening. It takes 2 seconds and it truly makes a world of difference in helping more people find their way here. So if you haven't done that yet, please go ahead and do that now. It truly helps us grow this community, and I promise I will continue to strive to make this show as wonderful as possible. Okay, so now today's episode, I'm so excited about this one because we are welcoming back the first repeat guest in Art of Thriving history, Melody Lubin. She flew all the way in from Perth to Melbourne to record these episodes with me, so it only made sense that we do a couple. If you haven't caught the last one we did, that was episode 18, and so many of you poured so much love into that following that last episode. So I just know you're going to love this one, and if you haven't caught that one, I highly recommend going back and having a listen. Melody Lubin is a thought leader and mentor and guide whose work is rooted in helping women come home to themselves, to their bodies, their desires, their full and unapologetic expression. And her transmission really is a potent one, and it's graceful and incredibly direct. And I'm excited to share this conversation with you today because there's so much gold in here. So let's get into it. Welcome back, Melody. You're probably the first person I've had on twice, actually.
Cool.
Yeah. So
No repeating guests so far?
not so far.
Cool. I'm honoured.
Yeah. So last night we went out to dinner after doing our first episode together, and naturally, as two women sitting around a restaurant table, we started talking about our relationships and thought that this would be a really good pathway to go down today. And I've had a lot of beautiful men on the show talking about how the masculine can take responsibility for their side of things, and I haven't really had that on the feminine side. So yeah, we thought that'd be a great pathway to go down today. Before we do, how are you feeling? Forgot about the check-in.
Yeah, I'm feeling open. I'm feeling playful. I'm feeling curious. I'm feeling a bit more relaxed than yesterday. Yeah, I'm excited for this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I feel playful too. I'm excited for this thread. Yeah. So, to kick us off, I'd love to ask, what do you feel is the union template that you're personally orienting to at the moment?
Yeah, the template that I'm orienting to is definitely union. I'm calling in, desiring, like I want a co-collaborator. I want somebody that I can co-create my life with, somebody that I can like share and move vision forwards. I think something that's really present for me is like, I have such a dedication and clear sense of purpose. We touched on this yesterday, sense of purpose in my life. And I want that to be amplified through my relationships, my friendships too. You know, the people that are closest to me and the women that are closest to me in my life are all visionaries, leaders, they're creators. And I desire partnership where that is at the forefront of our lives too, where we're serving something that's bigger than us and we're creating an expression of us through us. Yeah, and there's something about this like male, female, or me and partner and God, like this Holy Trinity thing that feels really present for me. Yeah, there's definitely like I'm calling in a co-collaborator, that feeling. It's not, there's something in me that wants like fire to be met in the sense of action in the world. Like, what is the purpose of our relationship? And I think for so long, we've been modeled family as the purpose, which is beautiful, right? Like we're lacking the family unit modeled. So many of like my generation, the parents of our generation, are broken homes, right? And that generation too. And so there's something about the family unit that we're lacking a decent model of. And so if it's kids being the creation, yes, and then also what's the service piece through that? Like what's the thing that we're creating that's bigger than us, that's been assigned to us, that we both get to pour in through us? And that's kind of the template that I'm really calling in. Yeah. What about you?
I feel like that's been my prayer recently too, is like I want all of the things for me in terms of like, you know, connection and intellectually like turning me on, and the spiritual, emotional, physical connection, the feeling supported, all of the things that you've just shared as well, but for the greater good of the whole. It's like I want to be able to use that space to amplify that magic out into the world, and whether that is to take all the work that I've done on myself and have that matched in a partner so that we can gift that to our children and literally seed that into humanity for like, you know, the lineage that will come from that, I think is of incredible benefit and support to the world. Also, how can we create together for the whole? And it's been interesting for me having come from a partnership where we were so focused on the mutual vision that interestingly now, it's like I've always wanted to collaborate with a partner, but stepping out of that and not working out, I've kind of been in a place of, like the guy I'm connecting with at the moment, he's like, I want to create together. I'm like, oh, I feel a little bit more protective of that at the moment. It's like I really want to establish my own vision, and then from that overflow come together and see what we want to create. But it's been interesting to see that shift, but ultimately that is like my true desire.
Yeah, beautiful. That amplification, that word is like something that really vibrates in my system of a lot of yes, of like, okay, I'm always in the inquiry of where's my next layer of what I can create by myself. Like, where am I stretched? What am I meeting? Where am I being carved and weaved into something deeper? And then there's this curiosity of, okay, cool, I've done a lot by myself. And so what's it like to experience it with somebody that wants to share these intimate moments with me? And it's like, it's the duality for me of both it being this like bigger than us thing, and then also what's it like at home? And like, how does the home feel? And what's the intimacy that we create together? And what are the shared moments of connection? And my prayer at the moment has been like, I really want to do the work with someone. I really want to break the generational patterns. And like, I really want to be in that practice of what does it mean to keep choosing something? Because I feel like, and I think this is in everything, and I think I spoke about this at Roots at the Queen workshop too, is like everything's so fast and we always want to quit and we always want the next hit. And if something doesn't figure out, how do I try something else? And we've taken this into relationships, and there's something that we have lost in the, I'm going to keep choosing this. You know, it's like that fine balance of leaving something prematurely, but also overstaying. Right? And like, how do we keep staying with the pulse of where is this no longer true and why is it no longer true? And getting really honest with the where did it go off? And is there potential to bring it back? And like, that is something, like the reconciliation is something that like I'm really curious about of, I don't know, I think I'm in so much deconstruction of like my forever person, and like, is there a forever person and why would there be? And is that like actually just true of life itself? Is it a program that we've been conditioned into? And is it something that's true? And like, can we evolve with people? full. And then I think about truth, and I think about some of my very honest friendships, and it's like we can weave apart, but the love doesn't change, and we come back together, and the relationship and the connection is still there. And so I'm curious around that within relationship, and I want to be in the practice of staying and like building with somebody that wants to stay too, that's interested in the longevity. And I see that within my business too. And I don't know if you resonate, but it's like it has this pulse that moves, but the thread is still the same. The thread doesn't, it's like you can go off path and you can take 6 months off, or you can take a year away, but like something tugs you back.
Yeah.
And I'm curious around that in relationship.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I think about the fact that most people, I feel, in the kind of normal collective space who maybe don't practice personal development or active communication so much. I trust if you're here listening that you probably do. But like how much people just don't communicate with each other, and then resent builds. And there was a study done in the States with people who are divorced, and it was like 90% of women who came out of divorces said my needs weren't being met. And then the same amount of men were like, I didn't know what my woman needed. And it's like, okay, so someone's not talking. Like in my experience, if a man's heart-centered, they really do want to show up. And typically women actually haven't been taught how to know what they want and ask for what they want. And like being in this connection at the moment where communication is so easy, I'm reflecting on like my relationships in my 20s where I used to fester on something for like a week or two and go round and round in circles and be so uncomfortable because I felt like I couldn't bring it to them. It was going to create issues. And what I learned from that process is like if I was in my center, then I could communicate what was going on for me in a way that they would be open to receiving it. It's like, I'm experiencing this was very different if I came to them and been like, I'm experiencing this. You know, they just want to push away. But now to be in a dynamic where it's like, oh, I'm feeling this. Oh, cool. Yeah, I totally understand why you're feeling this. That's probably because of this. And we're able to just move through so much easier. I'm like, wow, there's so much energy saved that can then be poured into that creation, you know.
And that requires a lot of maturity. Like it requires, there's something around the language that we can use as the feminine that really has a very specific impact on men. And the way that we approach them with things, and the tone and the openness as opposed to the accusation, that I think really impacts how the man feels in his wantingness to stay and his wantingness to be present and his wantingness to resolve. Because my experience with men is that I don't like the word please, but they do just want to please us, and they do just want to resolve the issues that are there, and they want to be helpful. And, you know, it's like they want to get your car door, and they want to, not even in relationship, you know, just like when you're out at the shops, the men like want to help you with your shopping bags and all these things. And if you're open to it like that, they want to step in. And I think, you know, we spoke about this yesterday over dessert.
Yes.
We were talking about the creational aspect of the feminine and our wombs, and we have this ovulation aspect where we're in creative and we're in doing and we're in this more revealing and openness. And then we have our bleed, which is the death and decay and destruction. And the cycle of creation is constantly that, if we acknowledge it, right? It's like it's going up or it's going down. And if we use energy intentionally, we can really take things up, right? And if we don't use it intentionally, we start to decay internally. And so if we think about that as our power, which it is, it's how are we using our power in relationship to men too? Are we using our language, and are we using our energy to help support the upcoming of them? Or are we in destruction of them? Are we in belittling them? Are we in resentment towards them? Are we doing everything that we can to push them down as opposed to build them up? And I really think that that's something that's fundamental in a woman, in her understanding of the impact and the power that she holds to be able to create or destruct and destroy a man and his sense of self, his sense of purpose, his sense of desire, his sense of service, that is innate for men.
Yeah.
It's so innate for them to just want to do for us. And so our creative power, what are we doing with that? Are we using it as the muse that the feminine is to inspire, to build, to uphold the parts of them that so much of society is like, they're not enough, they need to do more. I used to say to my ex-partner, like, baby, let me take the rocks out of your backpack, because the backpack is just so heavy as a man in the world. They have to do so much, they have to hold so much, they have to be so much. And are we creating environments where they can come home and take the rocks out of their backpack? Are we making their backpack heavier and like giving them more and giving them harshness and you need to do more of this and can you more? Or are we creating a space for them to unfurl and actually feel their primal and innate part of them that just wants to show up?
We think about like history, it's like, you know, men have built like monuments in the women that they love's honor, or like, you know, fought wars and wrote incredible masterpieces of art. And yeah, I got goosebumps talking about that. I think you said yesterday there must be a trade-off for like being in that energy of feeling like you need to tear a man down. What do you think the trade-off is? Like, have you gone into that at all?
Well, I think it's this like power over, because if you think about the trade-off of being in, like, if we want to create and if we want to serve the highest part of them, the trade-off is like they keep pouring back into us. That's my experience with men. It's like when I give them the space and when they're well fed emotionally, spiritually, sexually, physically, all these things, they actually they don't need a lot of appreciation and recognition for them just to pour it straight back in. It's a very unique, I track this in the retreats that I run, where I have a man come in and we'll do feminine projection work. So we'll do projections of the masculine in the morning, and then in the afternoon we'll do a devotion to the masculine ceremony. They hit their edge of receivership very early, very early. They get full very quick. And then once they're full, they want to do something with that energy. And so it's natural that they're just going to want to start to do things for their partners, their families, their loved ones, their purpose, all of these things. And so if that's the trade-off for that, and it's like, okay, you get to receive more and you get to soften more, then the trade-off for the destruction has to sit in some kind of power over, where it's like you get fed on seeing a part of him emasculated and smaller, and that, because there is that conditioning of men power overing women, and I think when it's in that distortion, it can feel dangerous for a woman to feel under a man. And so that power over then that the woman gets, where she feels more powerful than him in an egoic sense, actually creates something in her where she feels safer and she feels better than, and she can watch the diminishing of a man and it feed an aspect of her.
I'm just reflecting on being a teenager, and it's very distant, so it's hard to recall, but I remember teasing and belittling a partner I was with through that teasing. And it's kind of like, it just grew up as like, that's sort of the banter. But at one point I remember thinking, why do I keep doing that? Like, that doesn't feel good. And when I like, because it's such a distant memory, but I do remember feeling that gave me some sense of power and safety. And it's subtle, but yeah, I can connect with that memory piece. Yeah,
totally. I feel like we have a lot of generational and ancestral resentment from the like unresolved resentment in a female system, and that resentment can make you want to emasculate very quickly, very easily, so that you can feel better than. It's like a polarity to the own resentment that we can feel as women. And I honestly think that resentment is like the biggest killer of relationships. The unspoken, as you said, the unspoken needs that the women have, that the men have no idea.
Yeah. And I think, like, I love this thread, like, it's a real art form and also a responsibility piece for a woman to learn to ask for, like, be in touch with, firstly, and ask for what she needs. And there's a friend of mine whose partner at the moment is really quite initiating her in this. He's like, I just want to know what you want. Like, even if they're in like a dynamic, he's like, tell me what you want. And she's like quite uncomfortable with it, because like a lot of us don't actually have the pathway open to necessarily go there to be able to even connect with it, to then have the ability and the courage to like back it and bring it forward. But like, I want to offer, like, when we ask someone of something for us, we're inviting them into a role. And it's like we're creating the space for them to then accept that or not. But how we ask, have you read Unbound, A Woman's Guide to Power?
No, but I know it very well.
Fantastic book for this.
Yeah.
So she talks about these different dominant and submissive states of attention. And it's like dominant is projective and direct, and the submissive is more receptive and inviting in. So it's not, one is not power over greater than the other, but someone who's masterful will move between the two quite easily. And she says that a submissive state of attention, if you're asking for something, is like, I would like this because it would make me feel and it would fill me up and it would be so good, and you're coming from that place. And the direct dominant state of attention, it was like, could you do this for me? Mm-hmm. And I noticed for myself, the dominant state of attention is much more uncomfortable, because it means being direct and clear and not like squishing in, just like collapsing in on self. It can come out a little bit. So I've been in the practice of that.
Yeah.
But noticing now, again, with this beautiful man I'm connecting with, whenever I ask for something, he's like, thank you so much for asking. I'm like, it just gets easier and easier.
Totally. Yeah, I'm doing this program called Siren. And one of the modules is about your desire being not just your own deepest initiator, but his too. And the quality of our desire. So if it's like your hunger for him, right? And like your dripping wet desire and animal appetite is actually such a deep initiator for his animal and primal body too. But then also just the inquiry of your own desire of like, hey babe, I want to do this. Can we go here for dinner? You know, and how easy they respond to that clarity, you know, and for us, it might not, like our own internal clarity of what the desire is. I want to eat Indian tonight. Cool. Hey babe, can we go to the Indian tonight? And then they've got the instructions of what to do. They know they're going to get it right, you know, but that clarity is their initiation also of them being able to respond and lean in. And I think that's such a beautiful dynamic to be able to master and play with. And as I said at the beginning, like the innate primal desire for them just to, again, don't love this word, please, but like just to get it, like do the things that we want to do well, you know, and us being able to communicate that in clarity is such a, like it's hard. Yeah. Because we want to have our needs met. When you ask your partner for something and he says yes, it's like, you know, and they want to. And so that symbiosis of us being able to ask and them being able to know is so easeful for both of us.
I feel curious, like, what would you say, because I'm just getting like a little plug into the realms of women who can maybe be a little bit more, and obviously there's kinks around this too, and it's nice when you have the permission to like play into this energy and like own all parts of ourselves. But like maybe I know some people can be like, I have a need, you need to fulfill it. Like there's an expectation. And I think for me, I'm curious what you'd say on this, but for me it's like, we can't expect someone to fill our needs. It's an honor to fulfill someone's needs. But yeah, I just, for those listening who was like, I have a need, I communicated and he didn't want to fulfill it. Or like maybe the need was coming from a wounded, insecure place. Like what would you say around those threads?
Yeah, I love this. So I feel like when we're conscious relating, there has to be an understanding that we all have hardcore wounding. And so being able to stay in presence and compassion when somebody asks for something or does something from a wounded space, I feel is deep maturity, that we can't expect everybody to be perfect and healed and not have insecurities and not need things. And I think that's part of being an adult. It's like if I'm choosing to be in relationship with you and you have something that comes from an insecurity, I'm choosing to love you in your insecurity because I've chosen the connection. And I feel like that's where the healing happens. And I think it can be very easy that we're like, you should be healed and you should have everything and this is all you. And it's like, well, we're choosing to be in relationship together, and that's part of what I'm taking on as part of my responsibility of loving you. And it's like you choose the people that you do that with. And I don't believe that we are expected, I don't expect people to fulfill my needs. It's like, again, I'm coming to you with a curiosity and like something that I want to share, but I have to be okay with you not wanting to meet me there. And that also shows me if somebody isn't wanting to meet me there, it's like, oh, I want something different from my relationships. I actually do want somebody that's going to meet me in a space because they want to be present in the relationship. And it's not like having tantrums all the time, and it's not begging, and it's not desperation. It's like, this has hit up on something. Can you be with me in the process of my unraveling of this? And I feel like when we choose to go into a relationship as adults, we're choosing that part too. And I think that's also something, it's like, when you say you're not ready for a relationship, you're not ready for that part. And that's something that I feel as a collective. And again, it's not like I'm sitting with you constantly processing all the wounding and all the brattiness and all the like bullshit. It's, there's boundaries within it, but it's like, that's what I choose when I choose the relationship. And I think that's something that we can be so easy to dismiss. And I think about all the closest people in my life, my friendships, it's like, I choose that part of them too. Yeah, I love that part of them. It's, I don't want to sit and process with them all of the time, but it's like, yeah, there's something in openness and vulnerability that I feel like is very easy to be receptive to. And that I personally try to practice a lot of patience with. And that's also the inquiry of, is this relationship still aligned? Are we processing a lot? Is the insecurity too much that like it can't work?
Yeah, I love that. I feel like I'd love to just speak to my own experience with this, because I feel like in my last relationship, there was a lot about it that was really challenging with, we were open relating for 1.5 years, but there was something in me the whole time that was saying, like at the deepest core of me, that was like, stay. And even with all the noise and all the mental stuff that was like, oh, should I go? Is this the right thing for me? There was an unwavering feeling that was like, stay, until that changed, until I'd like reached certain thresholds and done certain work on myself to get to the place where it was like, now it's time to go. And we actually had a really beautiful conversation at one point at the beginning and at the end of our relationship. At the beginning, I was like, we're having an opening ceremony. And I was like, I need you to value your health and look after you. And he's like, you can't ask that of me. And I was like, okay, I value being in relationship with someone who looks after themselves. And I want to be in the amplification of that together. And he's like, that I can get on board with. And then at the end of the relationship, I expressed that I was at a place where I wanted to be in the exploration of what freedom meant for the masculine. It's like, you don't have to embody anything right now, but I'd love to be in the discovery of what that is together. And he very beautifully and honestly was like, I can see that you're wanting to call me into the man that you want to have kids with. Maybe not necessarily right now, but that's what you're asking of me. And he's like, I'm actually really happy with where I'm at in my evolution at the moment for the age that I am. And I'd like to actually just allow myself to be this age. And so what we're realizing is that we're actually not in resonance for what we're both wanting.
Yes.
So he's like, either we love each other unconditionally, and one of us compromises a little bit for this chapter, or we go our separate ways. And at the time, it was like, well, obviously we love each other unconditionally and stay together. But then 2 months later, it became very obvious that, oh no, it's time to go our separate ways. And it is such a fine dance, hey, of like people overstaying and like abandoning themselves in the process, or quitting too early, and then they're more likely to attract the same sort of lesson in the next relationship.
Totally. And I think one thing that I really in the understanding of is like relationships and business, everything is a living practice. Like it is a practice, like we don't get it right all the time. And I think learning to like give yourself permission, but also your partner permission to make mistakes. It's like we're not given a rule book, you know, we're trying to live as authentic and true and honest, and we're trying to dismantle conditioning. Like it's a whole thing. Programs of, but sometimes I hear people in the streets and the way that they're speaking to their partners, and I'm like, wow, we're still at like this level of consciousness where we believe that it's okay to speak to each other in these particular ways. And there's a lot that we're moving through and learning to be with ourselves. And I think going back to what I said at the beginning, like that's the curiosity that I'm in of how do we stay in all of these things. And something like you shared, that's like a very obvious differentiation and desire and vision, right? And so that is something that can't be compromised. But the places that can be compromised is like when I asked you for something that I need, but it was actually from a wounded place and I fucked up and I didn't want to ask from that space, but I'm noticing that I'm feeling unsafe. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, and like those are the things that I think there's something really beautiful within, like the vulnerability.
Yeah, it's amazing when we can just talk about it. How much easier it gets.
Totally.
Yeah, I think that'd be when I hear people talk about things, I'm like, have you thought about saying this to them and just being vulnerable? And oh no, I couldn't. It's like, particularly as women on a sexual level, it's like if we can't, and I totally get it, there's like thousands of years of conditioning of like women are to be seen and not heard, and like, you know, your husband's property, all of that is in there, but also our pussy has that direct connection to our voice. And like if we don't feel like we can express to our partners, this person that we're choosing to spend our life with in this moment or forever, like if we can't be honest with them and then trust them to receive that, then it is going to be harder for us to open fully and sexually and experience the fullness of what's possible there.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I live for the adjustment, you know, and you were sharing earlier about your partner adjusting you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I live for the adjustment. And I think they do too. Like, hey, baby, can you slow down? Like, can you just pull it back just like a little bit? Like, you're coming on strong for me right now. Just like pull it back. And just ways that we can, it doesn't need to be this like, you got it wrong. You know, you came on too fast. It's like, how do we communicate so that they can receive and hear us?
I saw this fantastic reel. This woman was like about to bleed, was really cranky, and she's filming like that she's like trying to pick a fight, and he's like, hey baby, I'm just acknowledging that like where you're at in your cycle might not be the best time to have this conversation. And he just like grabbed her and gave her a hug, and she was like, okay, fine. It's like, that's so great that he can be like, no.
Totally. Hot. Thank you.
So hot. I feel like so many of my bratty, projective, like reactive moments could be solved by being grabbed and pushed up against a wall.
Oh. Literally.
Yeah.
Shut me out.
It's like, okay, yes, I can, you lead.
Hot.
Yeah, so good. So I feel like it's very common for women to fixate on what their man's not doing and how they're not being met. And I don't know that men do that as much as women. Maybe they do. But in my immediate experience, I feel like if we are fixating on how all the ways that they're not perfect or not showing up or the different things they did, I feel like it's a little bit of a protective mechanism. I'm so guilty of it myself. Yes, we were talking about this on the couch last night. What would you say is going on there?
Yeah, well, actually, we were talking similar about this morning when we were having breakfast. But that there's this thing that I see at the moment online around like decentering men. And I think so much of our programming as women is all about getting the man, being in the relationship, and that once you are in the relationship, you are like certain level of success, or you've done a certain amount of work, or you've done something right. And that if you're not in a relationship, there is something inherently wrong with you. And I see a lot online at the moment around decentering men. And I think one of the reasons that we are so focused and fixated on them not doing right is because we're not so focused and fixated on our own lives. There's so much programming around it being the end goal, and like, I've achieved things because I have this partner now. And I think a lot of the fixating is because, first off, we want them to be our girlfriend and our boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Totally.
We want them to be both. And I think a lot of like this decentering men that I see online at the moment, I don't love that word, but I resonate with like it not being the orbit of your life. And I think this is going back to kind of like that Holy Trinity thing. It's like, what's the thing that's bigger than both of you, that's driving you both forwards? My ex-partner used to say, like, we are going in the same direction. Now we're just doing it holding hands. And it's like, for the women, it's so vital that we are like fully inhabiting our own lives, and that our life is full of purpose, play, friendship, connection, all the things that we love doing outside of that. Because if we want an amplification and it's amplifying what's already there, I don't want to amplify like waiting, misery, discontent, emptiness, loneliness, sorrow. You know, it's like I want it to amplify all the things that are already present. And I think a lot of the reason that we fixate on what the men are not doing is because we're not focused enough on our own stuff. It's like we have all this time to ruminate on nothingness, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I think things like dishes and all of this kind of stuff, it's like, these are just standards of living. If they're not doing the dishes, it's like, do you want to be with a person that loves mess?
Yeah.
Like, if that's a value for you, like, move on.
Yeah.
Don't get finicky about the dishes. Either do them because it's a standard that you want to live by, or move on to a relationship where that's a value for them too. And I think all the ways that, I have just learned through my relationship with men is that they grow exponentially when you love them for who they are. And a lot of my relationships, they have, I was going to use the word failed, and I don't like that word, but like they've discontinued because actually the men themselves have struggled to love them more than love themselves where they are at. And that reflection of so much acceptance and compassion and love is not something that they're used to. They're used to destruction and diminishing and emasculating. And so their own initiation is, how do they stay in the face of love? And I think that's all of our initiations as we choose to consciously relate. It's like, you know, when you get adjusted by a really masculine man, it's like, oh, okay, thank you.
I'm not used to that.
Yeah, oh, thank you. Like, got it, you know? And hot. But it's our own initiations is, how do we keep opening to the truth of the love that's there?
Yeah, beautiful. It's interesting because, like, I was talking to you last night about the fact that I've attracted mostly emotionally unavailable men till recently. But then being met by someone who's like so emotionally available, I'm realizing like my own inner avoidance. And a girlfriend of mine, it's her birthday today, Jamie, she said to me, she's like, actually, it's so easy for someone who's in avoidance to point the finger at someone else because they don't need to look at themselves. And it's easy to hold space for the other to figure that out instead of like going in and feeling it themselves. And I'm just making a parallel in this moment of maybe the women who think they're attracting emotionally unavailable men and they're more in the anxious, but actually is it a bit of a paradox of they're in avoidance because they're pointing the finger and they're not able to like look at what they want to focus on and take in their own lives.
Totally. Well, I think, yeah, it's like And this is where that anchor into our own lives is so important. Is like when that thing becomes the sole focus, is we're already outside of ourselves.
Just jumping in here real quick. I just wanted to take a moment to share something close to my heart with you. If you've been listening to this podcast and something has been quietly stirring in you, like a knowing that you're here for something bigger, then I wanted you to know that I work with women one-on-one through my mentorships. And over 3 to 6 months, we get to go really deep together. And I support you to create long-lasting change in your life. I support you with things like reprogramming the belief systems that are holding you back, getting radically clear on your mission, deepening your relationship with your intuition and your sensuality, transforming your relationship with money, and stepping fully into the woman that you know you're here to be. And what you walk away with is a deeper connection to yourself, your body, and your soul, clarity on your purpose, and the confidence to go after it. And it's a truly transformational experience. And it's my favorite way to work with people because it is a collaboration of our souls. And I get to support you to hold focus and amplify that belief that you have in yourself. So this is a whole woman approach, and it's designed to fit beautifully into your everyday life because I designed the program specifically for you. And if that's calling to you, the link is in the show notes to find out more. And you can book a free discovery call with me to figure out if we're a good fit for each other. And yeah, we can just have a conversation. Okay, back to today's episode.
And so how does that anchor really keep us inhabiting our own formation, and that life can move through that space between? And again, this is a practice.
Yeah.
And I used to really focus on this kind of like anxious avoidant pattern. And then I realized that it's actually just like an energetic law. You know, it's like if you like are gripping really tightly to money, then money's going to go. And there's just like an energetic law within that. And I think that the accountability of understanding who we are in relationship, because I'm curious around, so I attract a lot of dark masculine men. That's like my type. And I have a lot of dark feminine in my system. And there's like the avoidance too. So the anxiousness is a collapse on our power, but the avoidance too is a collapse on power. And so I'm interested again in this staying capacity of how do we stay inside of ourselves to keep the relationship and like the energy upholding itself as opposed to collapsing in on itself, because that's what's happening when we go into anxious and avoidant patterns. Is we're both collapsed on our nervous systems, like it's too much sensation to hold, and so the energy of the relationship starts to collapse. And so my good friend Kevin, I referenced him a lot, but he talks about avoidance being an unwillingness to meet life. Like anything, and if we're in anxiousness too, we're also in avoidance. It's our unwillingness to meet life. And so the curiosity is how do we stay in our willingness to meet life of what it's revealing to us? Does this make sense?
Totally.
Yeah, without getting into these dynamics. And this pattern, oh man, it's like ancient.
And everywhere.
It's not unique to the individual at all. And it's a spectrum. And as you said, you're experiencing the polarity of that. It's because it's like we're sitting on either side of it always. In our business, it's exactly the same with clients, like all of these, with friends. It's all there. And so the staying power is something that I'm curious within, of like, how do we keep staying in ourselves so that life can keep weaving?
How do we do that?
I mean, this is, as I said, a living practice. It's a practice. I think it's mastery. I think the first thing is awareness. It's like if you don't have awareness over your patterns, and that if you're in denial of your anxiousness or your avoidant tendencies, and you can't track it for yourself, but also communicate it with somebody else, right? If you're like, I'm noticing that I'm feeling like a little bit of contraction around how present you are with me, and like how sure you are is actually making me feel like I'm feeling retractive around this. And if we can't communicate that, there's nowhere to go. If you can't be honest with yourself about your avoidance, about your anxiousness, about that, like you can be secure in a dynamic until they start to pull away. If you can't be honest with yourself about that, it's like, where do we go from here? Because we need to be able to communicate it of, hey, you've closed and I'm noticing that I'm feeling unsafe now.
Yeah.
Like, where can we meet so that both our needs are met?
Yeah.
What kind of level of space do you need? And when can you come back to me to reconnect so that I know that, like, we're good?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that, I talk about this a lot, but like the woman in the relationship, and I say he, a man that tends to have avoidant tendencies is learning to stay in the reflection of the feminine. So when we're in our emotional chaos, whatever we want to call it, our emotional experience, he is learning to stay with us in the reflection of that, because his own internal feminine that he has been wired and conditioned to be disconnected from, he is starting to get revealed.
Yeah.
His own emotional chaos and wildness and destruction and whatever is happening. And he is witnessing that through you of his own experience. So he is learning to stay. She is learning to hold herself. Because so often we see online, like, he's learning to hold her. Yes, but actually he's learning to stay with himself through you, where she is learning to hold herself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And through his capacity to be able to stay with himself, he can then honestly hold you.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't want to be soothed. I don't want to create a codependent dynamic where I can't hold myself and I need you to hold me so that this relationship, so that I feel comfortable. It's like he's learning to stay with himself of the reflection, and I am actually learning to hold the level of sensation without spilling it all over you.
Yeah.
You know? And this is like practice, because we're constantly, especially in a relationship where the mirror is so strong, we're meeting our edge of our own range. You know, and things are getting triggered. And again, there's more range and more sensation and more experience and more tantrums and all the things, right?
Totally.
And so, and that's where that anxious avoidant thing really plays out. It's like, oh, I can't stay with as somebody who can also can sit into anxiousness. You know, working always towards a more secure embodiment, and then my tendency would be to fall in anxiousness when that pull away happens. And in that, it's like, can I keep staying with my own sensation and my own experience and hold that?
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I could just feel all the flashes of initiations of that piece moving before my eyes.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the vulnerability, you know, like, just kind of going back to desire and unattachment and power ultimately. Like, when I first related with my ex partner, I asked him straight out when we first met, and there was like aliveness there for me. I was just like, are you open to coming visiting me in Austin? And he was like, okay, you know. And it's like the openness of our desire and the vulnerability to be rejected, to be dismissed, and the non-attachment to the desire coming into fruition, allowing the space for them to step forwards. And then as emotional connection starts to weave, the vulnerability and the free falling into, I could be really hurt here.
Yeah.
And the vulnerability and the fear of that, and that's when those dynamics start to play out.
Yeah.
Is like, do I have the capacity to stay present here with myself? And those initiations are hardcore, and they're tender and they're vulnerable, and it takes a brave heart to keep opening.
And sometimes we got to go through it many times to like really have that land. I feel like I really love parts work for this, and whether or not people have done that as a modality, but just in simple form, it's like knowing that your triggers and your wounding isn't you. It's a part of you that we're learning and choosing to be in relationship with and love. But actually, like, you know, I've been really appreciating being able to be like, oh, this is coming up in me. this is a part of me that's feeling this, and then being able to like be in relationship together with that part and talk about it instead of being triggered like it's the whole self, or that means that I as my whole self are coming at you and needing this. It's like, oh, I'm experiencing this, and inviting the other into that is, I feel like, a really beautiful approach. And again, just that communication, the ease, how much more things can flow when there's an agreement and an understanding of how to do that for each other. And also willingness, I feel, without the willingness from the other to want to like be that, you're gonna go around in circles, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think that like this is what I'm feeling, or like this is what I'm noticing inside of myself, takes a lot of maturity. It takes a lot of consciousness, and it takes a lot of vulnerability to just like want to reveal it. And it's like, okay, you could leave me here, but I'm going to keep opening because I'm committed to the most honest expression of what's true. And there's something for me that I find really invitational within that it like wants me, I want to meet you in that.
Yeah.
When it's like not coming at me and spraying at me and all about blame and accusation and all of this kind of stuff.
Totally.
And it's like, okay, there might be a moment of that where like we fuck up.
Yeah.
Right. But can we reconcile that quickly and acknowledge that that's not how I respond well to?
Yeah.
And yeah, the piece that you spoke to around like the part and separation, and then it allows, like, I think there's so much, again, going back to like, if you don't have a partner, that there's something wrong with you. And there's so much conditioning for women around like, did I do it wrong? And like, what did I do wrong? And am I wrong? And is my existence wrong?
Am I blocking it somehow?
Totally. And I think especially in my most recent breakup, that definitely came up for me afterwards. I was like, where did I go wrong? You know, like what happened? Where did I go wrong? If I'm the creator of my reality, where did I go wrong? And the like madness that can put you within. And that when we have this understanding of just the parts, it's like, oh, it's just a part of me.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with me. That part isn't wrong either. It just needs a little more attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad we've led to this, because I feel like it is such an intense pressure, and I see a lot of really full power women in my field who, you know, they're getting into their 30s and there's almost this like panic of like, I'm fucking this up, I'm the block, what's going on, why haven't I figured this piece out yet? And I think for me it's like loving yourself for exactly where you're at, and like we've been speaking a lot about like trusting the timing of life. And like I was really reflecting on the fact that I'm here and the orchestration of my parents meeting each other couldn't have been fucked up. It's like there is no other way, really. And so trusting that, like, it's an interesting thing. It's like, yes, I believe we are creators of our own reality. And yes, I think it's a process of opening and allowing and moving through the things to be able to meet what we want, as well as taking action steps. But as well, there's so much I don't know. And I'm sure life has a much more intelligent view of like what is best for me. And I do believe that like there's a certain element of that is, I mean, it's so complex. I feel we have choice, and also I feel like a lot of it is already preordained, and maybe there's multiple timelines. I don't know. It's like an age-old question. I feel like I can only speak to my experience. When I was with my ex-partner Sage, I saw the timeline where we were together and we had kids, and I met those children. And I also felt like I had a choice to choose something else. And I was ultimately asking for my highest timeline. Doesn't mean other timelines are wrong. It was just like, what can I experience that is the best possible line for me in this one lifetime experience? And then life rearranged itself, and that got taken away, as beautiful and magical as that was. And as much as I wanted that, I was like, I'm in full trust to whatever is. Like, I feel like in the cracking open of that full surrender, I was just like, I'm handing myself over to it now. Yeah, but you've talked a bit about this too. And
yeah, and I think that like polarity, I see this in everything, right? It's like black, white, man, woman, you know, there's a polarity to everything. And it's like, so if there's a polarity to everything, it's like we create our own reality and then we also don't. And we have to be willing to we have to be willing to meet life of what it's asking of us with the surrender of like, I actually know nothing. And again, I think we spoke about this yesterday, but like the knowing and the intuition that we have. And then also, I know nothing, the humility of like, oh, I thought I knew, but actually I know nothing. And that's the polarity, the duality that we're here to experience on this human planet, is that there's one side of the coin, and then therefore there has to be the opposite. There has to be. It's just like the way the laws of energy work. It's like literally what keeps us upright. It's like light and dark, you know, it's like the sun rises and the sun sets. It's like these are all things that happen. We experience daytime, we experience nighttime, we have winter, we have summer. It's like there's always opposite.
Yeah.
And so if we know something, then we also have to be in the understanding that we also don't know.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and that titration of both, of like, cool, I feel this thing and I trust this intuition and I feel this blossoming with this person and I feel this timeline, and then also, oh, I know nothing. Like, because is it God's plan? Is it?
Or is it my plan that I created somewhere else in some time?
Exactly. And is it part of God's plan that I have this relationship with this opening? And do I see this timeline with this person actually so that I can open to a particular state that's going to give me the right level of heartbreak that I need to crack myself open to be able to stay in this openness that's going to take me to the next relationship? And is that God's plan? You know, is it not the end destination that's God's plan? Is it the maze that we go through, the keys to every door that we're taken on to have the particular experience that we need that evolves us to become the person so that you can be met by your current partner? Because if you hadn't have had the partner before, you'd said this morning, would you be able to receive your current partner now?
Yeah.
And is that God's plan?
Yeah. Gold.
You know?
Yeah, we'll never know.
We'll never know. We'll never know.
I actually saw this great reel, this woman I follow, I wish I could remember her name in this moment, but she's like, you know when you're like to life, I really want E, and then life gives you X, and then life gives you B and C, and you're like, oh, C was really close to E, and you're like, wow, it's so close to E, and then life gives you E, and you're like, I found E, and then it takes E away. And you're like, wow, I really thought everything was leading me to E. And then life gives you W. And you're like, wow, this is so much better than E.
Totally.
It's like, yeah, I think there's so much what I'm learning, even with internal processes. It's like the same sort of thing with personal development work. It's like, oh, I thought I was past this lesson or past this piece. And it's like, there's actually nothing to fix.
Yeah.
And how can you love yourself so radically for where you're at and like be with those pieces of yourself, not to overcome them, but to actually just be with the realness of what is in this moment. And naturally that will transform it, but that's not the goal. It's like just to be with ourselves. And I see that within the relationships or not being in the relationships. It's like how can you fully open to the magic of what you're being given now?
Totally.
Otherwise you miss the whole thing.
And that conditioning that we have around like the finality and the stability and the security and the like end goal that we have in all areas of our life. You know, it's like, I want to move to this country, I want to build this house and then I'll be happy. I want to find my partner, have my kids, live there, and then I'll be happy. When I reach this goal in my business, and I honestly just feel like our souls come here just for the sake of experience. They're like, you have all this funky stuff about, and I'm just like, I just want to go over here, and now I want to go over there, and now I want to do this. And it's like, and I think that's so translated in relationship, is that we're so fixated on it being like the final person, and and I track this within myself. You know, like I am not immune to this conditioning at all. And also I do think that there can be a real honest desire of wanting to co-create with somebody and have longevity and build something in life. And I think that can be honest too. And it's the duality, right? Of the place of like, this is my honest desire. And then also the places where I've been conditioned that like, this is what I need and what I should have. And that's how it should be.
And if not, I'm failing.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think being able to titrate those, I mean, What were we saying this morning about that reel that you were talking about, where it's like when you just let go, everything happens, and it's like, yeah, cool, fucking learning how.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck do I just let go?
Yeah, don't move. Just right there. That's it. Just hold your breath.
You know? And it's like, especially in something like a breakup that I went through last year, it's like, oh, just let it go. And it's like, I am trying.
Yeah.
Like, should I be trying? Am I not meant to try? Like, what does it mean? What does that mean? And it's like our systems have these processes that they complete when they complete, you know, and we're always, and I think this is something with the work, you know, it's like, we see ourselves as a project and we're trying to get to the surrendered state and the softer state and the more submissive state and the more feminine state. And it's like, you're not a fucking project.
Yeah.
You're not like you're a work of art, yes, but you're not like this like thing that there's constantly needs fixing. It's like, just allow yourself to access the truth of what the experience is and find space in that.
In the now.
In the now.
And I feel that that's what grief really gifted me. It's like there's no bargaining with that. You can put it off for a time, but eventually it's going to swallow you. And like for me, I'm so grateful I had the awareness to give myself permission to hand myself over to it, to just be able to be totally torn apart and made new and restructured from the inside out, and to meet myself in the honesty and the rawness and the vulnerability of those spaces was the most exquisite thing. That my memory of it is, interestingly, like, I remember it being painful, but I remember it being amazing as well. And I know not everyone has that experience, but just the aliveness and the realness and the rawness of the sensation is like, I am so alive right now. And also it's a spiral journey, and it's like, you know, it's been a year and I've been in a pretty good place. You're asking me, like, are you over? And it's like, yes. And also I had a dream the other night that brought up a lot of emotion, and it's like something me and my partner have been talking about at the moment. That's the first time I've referred to him as that on the show. Very new.
Hard launch.
He's a secret man in the background. I'm like, he's just been bringing so much permission for, like, we might not ever get over it, and it might not ever be complete, and like there might be years or two in between where it's like we think we're past it, and then like a big wave comes up, and it's like that's really just a part of it. And I don't think there's any bypassing that. It's just being with the aliveness of what is true in the moment and allowing it to move.
Yeah, and those great loves, it's like, why do you want to get over them? Like, if they're which they are, such a powerful gift, like they're a full gift from God, you know, and to be able to have that experience and experience that, not even intensity, but like that depths of magic. It's like, why do we just want to put that in a box? Doesn't it, I don't know, does it not deserve like living, breathing, something that you walk with? I think there's a beauty in that, and what a gift that you found a partner that has such deep acceptance and like is willing to stay with you and not make it mean anything.
Yeah, because for him, he's like, I want to know all of you, I want to love all of you, and this is a part of you. This has been a part of what's made you you, and if it's real, then I'm here for it. And it's like, I've been in the contemplation of like, do we, like the idea that, you know, you see in movies, it's like, you're still in love with your ex, so I can't be with you. And it's like, sure, there's like a part of that. It's like, maybe we're still holding on and we can't move on, therefore we can't open to what's in front of us. But actually, I think for me, what I'm learning is like, the love I have for someone, that love is never going to die. It's never going to go away. It's just, it does transform.
Yeah.
And we learn to be in different relationship with it.
Yeah.
But I think the acceptance of that has brought me so much peace, because it's like, I know I don't want him back. I know that we're not meant to be together. But it's like, yeah, there's still a part of me that is like, I still love him. And sure, I'm learning to love him as a friend, but it's complicated.
Yeah, my good friend Shannon, she talks about like love doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't die, it just changes form.
Yeah.
And that our willingness to be in the tenderness of its reformation, it's like truth doesn't go anywhere. It's like that calling that calls you back to your path. It's like, the path is still pathing. You're just over here. And, you know, that love, it still exists. We're just over here. We're just not like, you know, it can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think there's something really beautiful within that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also having these experiences that like really shape you and continue to shape you. I did a mushroom trip in September, and I just got like a really clear message from Spirit that like the love between me and my ex-partner is still teaching us both. And I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That it's like it gets to keep teaching you even as you meet other people and marry other people and maybe build a life with other people. It's like there's these particular experiences in our life that like imprint us in a way that is very purposeful, and it's very specific, and it's very intentional. I've got full chills.
Yeah.
It's not just like a random experience of you just having an intense moment with your ex-partner and falling in love. It's like it's a very specific experience to keep carving us. And yeah, I just think that there's so much magic in that.
When you think about the orchestration of everything that happened in your life, to be able to come together with that person, to receive what you did from each other, it's like, yeah, when you think about the future projection of the kind of person that you want to end up with and build a life with, I don't think there's any amount of anything we can do that can fuck that up, personally. Like, it's just a matter of surrendering to the timing.
Totally. It's like nothing is random. Nothing is random. Is there anything in your life that has been like random?
No.
Nothing. Nothing. And it's even like with dating apps. I was saying to a friend the other day, we were talking about dating apps, and she was like, why don't you go on them? And I was like, I have never met a long-term partner. Like, I've never had an issue finding a long-term intentional teacher through partnership when I've needed it, when it's like meant to come into my life. I've never been scarce of that. It's never not happened. Even my moments, I was saying I was single for 9 years, even those moments were not fucking random. That was not random that I was single for 9 years. That was extremely intentional and extremely specific. And so it's like, yeah, if you feel called to the dating apps, then that's not random either.
Yeah.
You know, that's your calling to go and explore them.
Totally.
And I don't have that calling right now. But it's like, I know that when I'm ready to learn again, it will happen.
Yeah.
Because it's not random.
Actually, there's a really beautiful, did I tell you about the necklace?
No.
Okay. So, my partner, still getting, it's new. So I met him 3 years ago in Bali, which he knew. I had bought a necklace before going to Bali, and I'd read this book, Journey of Souls, that talks, it's basically like this hypnotherapist regresses people back into the place in between lives. And it's basically all these hundreds of case studies about what people reflect on experiencing in that space. And you get the idea that based on different people's language, they're kind of describing the same sort of things through maybe slightly different symbolism based on what they have available as a human they are. But one thing he talks about is like, key people we're supposed to meet, you have agreements with them, and it's like, when I wear this or when this happens, that will trigger a memory or a moment in you where like, I have to go talk to them. And I saw this necklace, and I didn't buy it for like 3 months, but it haunted me. And I went back and I was like, I need to buy it. So I bought it, sat there, no, it's a one-of-a-kind piece, no one else got it. Went back, bought it, took it to Bali. It's this beautiful black pearl with 2 dolphins either side of it, this little pendant. And I was at Ecstatic Dance wearing that, and I came up the stairs, and Josh said he saw it before he saw me and was like, whoa, what's that? And then was like, had this wave of energy, and then saw me and was like, whoa, who's that? And then because there's so many people, and he's in a space where he's also had a partner that he was open relating with at the time, and there's lots of gorgeous people in the space. Obviously, you know, we have certain chemistry with individuals, but it was the acknowledgement of, whoa, I need to take notice that he got from the necklace. Went and watched me dance, and I was like dancing, and I'm feeling this presence behind me, and I'm like, that feels really good. Who's that? And turned around and saw him watching me and invited him in to dance with me. Had a really beautiful dance. We went on a date, we connected, and then didn't see him again for 3 years. Like, we had a couple of small interactions after that, but then after leaving Bali, didn't see him again for 3 years. He never goes to Mullen Farmers Market. He just decided to go that day, and I was there, and he was like, Hannah? And I turned around. He's like, oh, it is you. Would you want to hang out? And it was just on from that moment. And it's like, yeah, it's been nearly 6 months and we're in partnership. And it's like the orchestration of that.
Totally.
And the timing.
Totally.
And also I feel before I got to Byron, I was saying to Marley, I was like, I feel like there's a romance on its way to me. And I was like, and it feels extravagant. It feels lavish. I feel like I'm going to be looked after. I'm going to be wine and dine. I'm going to be in this beautiful space near water goes. And that's exactly what happened. I think the first night we spent together.
Specific.
Yeah.
Specific.
Yeah, it's like the first night we spent together on the balcony, I was like, oh my God, I'm living it. I messaged Marley. I was like, guess what? It's happened. And so this is another piece I wanted to share. It's like when we're, as women in particular, cultivating the attunement to be in the deep listening, there is an ability to surrender to being in the now and also opening up our field to sense what is the action step we need to take. Where is life calling us to move to be in the responding.
Totally.
But also to be able to sense, like, can we feel what's on its way? Is it around the corner? Is it in the distance? Can we allow it to be there? And trust that bigger picture.
Totally. Yeah, I could feel my ex-partner for a while. Like I was like, oh, it's coming in strong, like it's getting hot, like that kind of feeling. And also the titration of like the longing, like this longing experience that I actually asked one of my good friends yesterday, I was like, do men long? Like, do they long in the same way that the feminine do? And I don't know. I feel like I was saying to her, I don't experience loneliness. I feel like there's something that men tend to experience more sense of loneliness. And I feel like that's because, not necessarily, but like they're seeking the life that the feminine brings.
Yeah.
As a woman, I don't experience loneliness. I experience longing, and I experience like almost like a piece of me missing, like there's a space in my life that's being held that feels vacant right now, like that feeling. And that longing is such a beautiful experience. And also, we were saying this earlier, like it can become a bit obsessive.
And painful.
And just like repetitive. And again, like the importance of filling your life.
Yeah. It's a fine line because, I feel that longing is so beautiful and powerful and magnetic.
Yes.
And also it's like a hair and a nail away from it crossing over into obsessive, destructive, painful.
Totally.
Yeah.
And in that longing, it's like, so for me, I experience desire as it's like the creational spark. And if I spend too much time in my longing, I actually can't feel my desire. And the desire is the action. Longing is almost like, it's, I don't want to say a waste of time, but, but it's like a passive experience. It's like taking me outside of myself. Like there's some, like longing I experience as it takes me down into my desire. But if I spend too much time in my longing, it becomes yearning. And then I'm like yearning for something that's outside of me, and it becomes a bit fantastical of like, oh, will I ever meet them? And like that kind of thing, where longing takes me down. And if I really listen, it's like the depths of my heart, and then I can feel my desire. And that's where the intuition of like, you need to go here, take this step. And like the listening to be able to go to the markets at that time.
It's interesting. So because I had a response with Josh being like, I'm all in. And I'm like, wow, I've been pretty much in a state of longing in all my relationships because of like the half 1 foot out, the emotional unavailability on some level. I've always felt like I'm like desiring to be fully embraced and fully met, and haven't fully had that except for fleeting moments. And being in a state of longing for a while over the last year of like, I'm ready for the person that I want to build a life with. And when he was like, I'm in, and eventually after a little while, I decided, I was like, I want to be 2 feet in. I want to choose this. I'm not going to know from sitting on the side of the fence, even though I was like, oh, I'm not sure, and like had all this avoidance. The second I decided, the next day I was like, what the fuck have I done? So I went to ChatGPT and was like, what does this say about, blah, blah, blah. And it was actually like, if you've been hardwired for a state of longing, this is going to feel unfamiliar. And I was like, holy shit. I did not expect that. I did not consider that as a concept. It's like, yeah, I have been in a state of longing, and then to fully be met in that and that be put an end to, it's like, oh, that is so unfamiliar.
Yeah, wow.
A really interesting perspective, yeah.
And it makes sense because it's like, as I said, I feel like when I long for a really long time, it becomes yearning, that it like starts to take me outside of myself. And so if we're in that constant state of longing and it becomes yearning, and then all of a sudden it's here, it's like you have to adjust to be back here too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the energetics is going to, because there's nothing anymore that's like, oh, is it going to come? It's like, oh, it's here. Okay.
Gotta let that go.
Yeah, like whiplash from the yearning.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think this is so valuable because I just see so many women in particular suffering. Oh, this was a thread. You're asking, do men, are they in a state of longing? I have experienced that in some brothers, but it's different. It's like I feel them really beautifully. My friends who have been in this state where they've reached a place of readiness where they're like, I want to call in my partner. And maybe they've gone through a period where they've like dated a few people and they've been like, oh, Jesus, not it. And eventually they've come back to a place where I'm just going to be with myself. And my peace is not worth going outside my center for unless it's a full, absolute 100% yes. And each of them who have reached that place, I've seen meet incredible matches where it's just been like on. So I have experienced them be in that longing and navigate that space, but ultimately when they've come radically into their center, that's when, you know, sometimes it's been quite a while, but they have, each of them, I've seen them eventually find that person, and it's like, oh my God, you're such amazing fits for each other. It makes so much sense.
We love the love stories.
Yeah. With everything that we've shared, is there any final tendrils that you feel you'd like to offer people listening who are in this space? I feel particularly for the women who have been really hard on themselves, who it's like, I must be doing something wrong. I know we've spoken to that, but yeah, anything that comes through.
Yeah, it's funny. It's similar to what I said yesterday at the end of our conversation. You know, there's such a trust piece in this, and it's like you can't will it. And I said this to you. It's like it's like the one thing in my life, but our lives collectively, that we can't will. It's like, cool, if I needed to make £10,000, I would figure out, I could will myself to do that. If I needed to drum up more clients, I could will that. If I needed to find an apartment and live somewhere, I could will that. You know, it might not be perfect, but I can make it happen. But there is something in the universal understanding of love and truth. It's like you can't will it. You can't fake connection. You can't force chemistry. You can't fake alignment. It's like, it's not possible. And so, and also with willing, it's like in anything, if I was to will to make £10,000, it's like I can do it to a certain degree until it burns me out. And that's the same in relationship. It's like it requires our willingness, again, like to keep saying yes, but also to trust. It's like, I think my role in life is to keep participating and keep opening and keep going to the events and like saying yes to the dates and those things. But it's also, it cannot be willed.
Yeah.
So am I willing to trust the divine orchestration and the plan?
Willing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, am I willing to trust that everything else in my life has worked out exactly as it's meant to? So why would this piece be why would this be an exception to that? And I think there's something in the inability to will it that makes it like, oh, is it ever going to happen? Like, will it happen? Am I still waiting for something that's not guaranteed? And yeah, life isn't guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know, nothing about it's guaranteed. But am I still willing to keep meeting life and keep opening? And I think, yeah, just my path has been such a deep one of opening. And that's my that's my highest value, is my opening, is what is in service to my opening, and how do these experiences keep opening that? And yeah, I think there's something in that trust, and that in itself being, you know, we were talking about where you just hand it over and it's like, okay, just have your way with me. And it's that. It's kind of like, just have your way with me.
Yeah.
Like, put me on the highest evolution for myself, the highest path, the one that is of deepest resonance and the most expansion and the most gifts and all of those things. And it's like, carve me until I'm there.
Beautiful. Thank you. I feel like I'd love to add on that, like something my mentor's been sharing with me. It's like, you know, you manifest your clients. She's like, but you also have contracts with those people that are pre-organized, people that you're supposed to serve. And it's about creating the space and opening up for those people to come find you. Totally. And like, you know, take the action steps for that to be possible. But I feel it's the same with relationships. It's like we have, I believe, prior agreements, and maybe there's multiple different outcomes, but yeah, I don't think there's any amount of getting in the way of that. And yeah, it is a really beautiful symbiotic relationship of participation and surrender. Yeah.
One that we're like, well, that I'm always in the titration of. It's like, how can I meet life and everything that it's asking of me and keep saying yes?
Yeah.
And then trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it's meant to be. And I think when we can really embody that, there's such a like
Relaxation.
totally exactly of just like, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, and like I know that.
Beautiful.
And there's something, I think you spoke about this yesterday, about like, who do you want to be? And that's like a really important part. Like, who do you want to be in relationship? You know, and you were sharing the example about like, who do I want to be in this example with your parents? But it's like, who do you want to be as a partner? And are you willing to become that? Like, do you want to be the person that destructs, or do you want to be the person that creates? And then if you're going to be the person that creates, what do you actually have to do and be so that you can have that? And I think again, it's like being willing to be carved by how life initiates you, but then also knowing that like you don't have to do anything. You know, I see in personal development where we can become so obsessed with alignment. And I know people that have met their partner after having like a full love addiction bender with somebody like 6 weeks before, and then they meet their life partner. And it's like, you can't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're doing the work, it's like, we have to remember that it's energetic law.
Yes.
To be matched in that. That life is a resonance and a frequency. So
become it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Become it, and then be that and wait patiently.
Yeah, who do you want to be in relationship to being in the spaciousness of being with yourself?
That.
Yeah.
And how do you fully inhabit your entire life in that waiting? So what are you waiting for? Life is happening.
Yeah.
You know, right now it's happening as we're speaking. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? But like the waiting room.
Yeah.
It's like, get out that waiting room. Get on the track.
Yeah.
Like, go for a drive.
Yeah, it's harder for life to find you in the waiting room.
Totally.
Yeah.
What with your doors locked?
Yeah. I feel like something I'd love to anchor just before closing is like, I had this thing where I'd created this idea of what I thought my forever person was going to feel and look like based on what I had received from other people around me, their projections, their intuitive knowing, whatever it was. I created a visual around that. And then I was like, will I know it when I recognize it? I don't know. I assumed that I would. But then I have this beautiful man in front of me who's like all the things that I've ever wanted, who's meeting me in all the ways, who's so in. And I was like, oh, I'm not sure, because I don't know if this isn't what I thought. And eventually I was like, I'm driving myself crazy in confusion of wondering if I need to, like, if I fully choose this and I get it wrong, that was going to be so painful after the last time. So I ended up just praying to life. I'm like, you know what? If this isn't what is meant for me and like the best possible outcome for me to like meet this prayer of building a family and a life with someone, then please redirect it with ease to what is best meant for them. And if it is, then I will open to it, and I will open my heart to it, and I will let it in, because I can feel the ways where I'm like protecting myself from like, what if it's wrong? And I feel like in doing that, it's like, maybe it won't be forever, but maybe it will. And it's been this really beautiful surrender, and also meeting the parts of myself that are just like, no. And I'm like, how much have I been doing that? Like always, too. So I think that's a really powerful thing to put out.
Yeah, the great mystery of like, we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, and we want to know that it's going to last forever and that this might be the person we built. Like, we want to know these things because it allows us to open in a way. It's easier to free fall when you know that they're going to stick around.
Yeah. Something Josh said that I really like is like, truth doesn't collapse on itself. Truth doesn't shrink. And so it's like, if the feeling that I've been having of, I don't think that he's it did feel like it was like a contraction. And it's like, how to feel the difference, like, we were talking about before, is like, do I stay and abandon myself, or do I stay and give it more effort? And knowing what that feels like, it's like, I was asking in my previous relationship, I'm like, if it's not meant to be, take it away and make it really obvious, like make it really loud. And when it came through, it was very clear and direct, and it wasn't this contraction. And when I tried to step away from Josh recently, he was like, I don't believe you. It doesn't feel true. And I think there's when we are able to more deeply attune to the subtle energetics of what is going on, then it becomes more obvious as to where to move and what feels right too.
Yeah, totally. And going back to this piece that you spoke to earlier of like, where you can't go wrong. And so it's like, you can try and walk away, but if it's like, you can't go wrong. You can't get it wrong if it's meant to be right.
Totally. Dissecting the universal mind.
Oh, it's exhausting.
It's a lot.
And I think, it's like the menial belief that's like, I control everything and every single choice that I make. It's like, yes, our choices matter. And also it's that duality. We have to be willing to know that we also don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And how freeing.
How freeing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing. So I know we asked already, but just for those who are listening to this episode and haven't to the other one yet, what's on the horizon for you? I know it's often changing, but yeah, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I'm running a retreat in Costa Rica in November, and I would love to have you there if you feel inspired to come and be with me for 7 days and do a bunch of archetypal work and feminine expression work and healing with the masculine and all of these things. It's beautiful. And then you can find me on Melody Lubin and on Instagram, and all my online containers are there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for choosing to fly to Melbourne from Perth.
Yeah.
To do this with me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah. It's been really beautiful to share this extra time with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
That's it for today's episode. I hope you found something here that resonates for you to unlock more freedom and vitality in your life. And if there's something you'd love me to dive into on the show, or a guest you'd like me to have on, please get in touch via the Art of Thriving podcast on Instagram and let me know. I'd also love to make this the best episode yet, and I need your help to do that. So please share with your friends who you think could benefit from listening. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with future episodes. We are now also on YouTube, so you can watch these interviews there as well. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.